I love the Zelda series and have discussed it extensively on my channel over the years, but only really the releases from Skyward Sword onwards. I've surprisingly never discussed any of the older classics in a review before. So I thought it'd be fun to rectify that with Wind Waker, aka the final game I recorded start to finish on my original capture card before it stopped working. Rest in peace, Elgato. You served me well. My first Zelda game was Spirit Tracks on the DS, which I think caught my eye at the time largely because of the art style. So I was excited enough when I discovered there was a home console game featuring Toon Link that I was surprised with a GameCube for Christmas in 2012. Then of course a couple months later the Wii U remaster is announced. But hey, I really like the GameCube, so it worked out well. I never finished this game on either console, so this review was also great incentive to finally knock this one off the backlog. But considering I got pretty far into the GameCube version, how come I never finished it until now? Well, outside of simply having my attention caught elsewhere, I was also coming up to the infamous Triforce quest, which I already knew would be streamlined in the Wii U version, which also featured the addition of a faster sail to the King of Red Lions, which by that point in the original game sounded glorious. So yeah, let's not beat around the bush here. My prevailing memories of Wind Waker over the years have mainly been on how much sailing there is and how tiring it got. The swift sail does quicken the pace somewhat, especially as you don't have to change the direction of the wind constantly, but I still find most of the sailing pretty boring. Sure, it gives you a nice sense of scope and the theme is great, but the sky in Skyward Sword gave me the same adventurous feeling within a compact space that was quick to traverse around. The Great Sea has a couple mildly intriguing islands and chests to find, but a lot of the ocean-dwelling enemies aren't particularly interesting to fight, and most of the time I feel like I'm on autopilot going from place to place. Somehow I completely forgot there's a fast travel option to unlock, which does help a lot in the back half to be fair, but that back half becomes a lot more open even prior to the Triforce quest. There are times in older games where if I don't quite know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm basically screwed without a guide. This happened a couple times here, which isn't really an issue, it's more of an annoyance, but a lot of the exploration needed for finding the earth and wind temples boils down to talking to these fishes for information on what you're supposed to be doing, which isn't as fun as if perhaps you were solving a series of puzzles or something. As for the big Triforce hunt, which I finally experienced for myself last month, it has elements of the big fetch quest from Link's Awakening and some of the open Freedom Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom would expand upon, but being introduced so late into the day, it brings the story momentum to a grinding halt and can feel a bit frustrating and rather repetitive. Although it weren't quite as bad as I was expecting in all honesty. There is a satisfaction to uncovering some of the areas and actually getting the pieces, I will admit. Partly because, even though I've been pretty harsh on this game so far, once you get on the land, it's largely very enjoyable. Up until the Earth and Wind temples, this thing moves along at a great pace. I appreciate how quickly both the story and gameplay get going compared to other Zeldas. It's immediately engaging, and the stealthy section at the Forsaken Fortress is a lot of fun. The swordplay is rather simple and not very challenging. I only died twice, both to the same boss at different points of the game, funnily enough, but the rhythmic sound effects do make it pretty satisfying. The bosses and dungeons don't particularly feel like some of the series' best on their own, although they are enjoyable with some very inventive moments, but I do think this might be one of the strongest collection of items in a Zelda game. They're varied, fun to use, especially with the gamepad's gyro controls, and they're consistently well utilized in the puzzles alongside some other creative gimmicks. But what really sets this game apart from the rest of the series is its breezy tone, primarily stemming from that art style. It's funny to think these visuals were controversial when they were first unveiled, because now it feels like one of, if not the most beloved aspect of this game. I mean, for one, the GameCube version continues to hold up incredibly well, and the lusher colors found in this remaster look absolutely wonderful. The character designs are incredibly expressive and add a lot of humor to the story, and it gives this game a really pleasant atmosphere. Outset and Windfall Island are some of the coziest Zelda locations in my opinion, which also makes some of the creepier enemies and darker moments in the story more impactful. The story is pretty simple, but the characters are very charming and the twists and turns make it a fun time. I especially love a lot of the stuff involving underwater Hyrule. The first moment you enter the castle frozen in time is very atmospheric. So overall, there are quite a few aspects I don't really care for, but the light-hearted charm just about always carries it through. And so I do enjoy Wind Waker quite a bit, and I'm very pleased to have finally gotten it finished.